Okay, so chapter 16 of Becoming Sister Wives is in the point of view of Robin. So let's get started. When I was in middle school and high school, none of my friends knew about my religion. I am the child of my father's second wife, which means that legally and publicly he couldn't acknowledge me as his daughter. This was difficult at times and hard for a young child to understand. I remember when I was about 10, a young child, being at the park with my father and my mother and my full biological siblings, when my father noticed one of his work colleagues approaching us. He walked away from my mother, my brothers and sisters, and me. He acted as if he didn't know us. Of course, I knew that he was doing this out of necessity. He wanted to protect us and his job. Nevertheless, it hurt me terribly. My mother would usually explain the presence of her sister wife by saying she was my father's sister or his wife from a previous marriage who had remained amicable with the family. For the most part, people bought it. I went to a sizable public school. There were students from different races and religions, but the majority were LDS. My fellow students and even my teachers often made disparaging comments about polygamists. They said we were backward and wrong. They openly made fun of the polygamous families that lived in our country. The majority of these families were FLDS. They were openly recognizable because of their extreme modest dress and the women's strange, old-fashioned hairstyles. My family was nothing like these families, but I was distraught by these comments all the same. I spent my childhood and teenage years terrified someone might uncover the truth about my family. I had few friends, those I did have didn't seem to question or care about the strange, unexplained things in my life. Kept most friends at a distance so they wouldn't start wondering about my family and asking questions. I did have one friend in the mainstream. Her name was Danielle Scott, and she was LDS. Danielle and I were best friends for many years. When we were in high school, I decided to tell her about my family. I was tired of hiding from her. When I told Danielle that my family was polygamous and that I had two mothers, she began to cry, saying, "I thought you guys were perfect. We're the perfect LDS family," she said. She was understandably confused. Most LDS followers condemn fundamentalism and polygamy. Suddenly, Danielle felt as if she didn't know me at all, and what she just learned about me made me morally wrong. When Danielle got over her initial shock, she began coming over to my house regularly. She realized that I was just me and my perfect LDS family was not all that different from what she previously imagined it to be. She grew close to my mom and came to understand that the differences between our faiths were not a big deal. We could be friends regardless of our beliefs. Over time, Danielle and I agreed to disagree about religion. This was a healthy development. We did try to stay away from the hot button topics with each other, but this agreement has led to a completely open, safe, and sweet relationship between us in which we can tell each other anything and everything. I had been the first wife in my first marriage. Although we were in the same church that I am now, we never got to the stage in which we considered taking on a second wife. My husband and I believed the principle, but things were too rocky between us to consider a plural marriage. This meant that during our marriage, we never really had to worry about how we looked to outsiders. We were a young couple with 3 young children. It was easy to pass as Mormon. When I started dating Cody, however, hiding the truth about my faith became trickier. When people asked me about the man I was dating, I didn't know what to tell them. Since Cody often visited me in St. George, acquaintances were aware that he had children. When they asked me how many, I never knew how to answer. Should I say one, because of how many he had from his only legal marriage? Or should I admit the truth and say 13? I can only imagine what the reaction would have been if I had said the man I was dating had 13 children. 13 kids. Hiding who I am is not in my nature. It's always bothered me that I have to lie about my beliefs, my family, and lifestyle. It has made me feel like a second-class citizen. In general, I'm quite honest and outgoing. I have no problems talking about what is going on in my heart or my head. Sadly, hiding my religion has been an unforeseen necessity. As much as I wish I didn't have to lie about my faith, I wasn't entirely prepared to be as open as Cody hinted I might be if I chose to marry him. When Cody first told me that he and my potential sister wives were going to be on a television program, I dismissed it as a pipe dream. I didn't question him or challenge him, but I remember thinking, "You're right. You're going to be on TV." As our courtship progressed toward engagement, I realized that the television show, which had seemed like a huge fantasy, was in fact a reality. If I married Cody, I would be signing on for this show. This gave me pause. It was very scary for me. I have been through an incredibly difficult marriage and divorce. I had suffered through some tough times, and now I was being asked to open up about my lifestyle, perhaps endangering my kids and myself in the process. I didn't want this. I didn't need this. I just wanted to live a quiet, tranquil life, happy with God and my family, but I loved Cody and his family too much. I asked God for a testimony that Cody and I shared a destiny. I received that testimony, and wasn't turning back. Well, Cody and I were courting and went through a period where I turned to God and asked him, "You seriously want me to be on a TV show? This is what you want from me?" It seems preposterous. I know that God guides my life, but he seemed to be leading me down a strange and dangerous path. Would I consider not marrying Cody because of the show? I was searching for stability and simplicity. Instead, I was hurtling toward a big, scary unknown. I remember being very concerned about the consequence we might face when our show aired. It would hit me some days how crazy going public was. Did I really want this kind of attention? Ultimately, my overwhelming love for Cody, for his family, and my testimony that I belonged to and his family won over. If our destiny meant being on a reality show, I was willing. When my sister wives told their families about the show, most of their relatives came to terms with this decision to go public, as long as their own families were not dragged into the spotlight. My family, however, was horrified by my decision. They could not accept or understand this choice. They found it morally wrong and personally dangerous. Some of my family members think that the plural lifestyle is too sacred to show to the public. They believe that what I'm doing is sacrilegious. I'm muddying the waters of something celestial and sensualizing it. In addition to condemning the morality of my decision, most of my family was horrified by the attention they worried the show would bring to them. I felt that when I made my choice to participate in such work, I didn't realize the domino effect that would follow. Suddenly, my siblings, friends who knew me from growing up, realized that I'm a polygamist and my brothers and sisters are too.